Yeah, so don't call me an atheist or agnostic or non-Christian or Satanist. I don't want to be associated with any group or classified in any way. Because in my opinion, being an atheist, nihilist, whatever, or being associated with a group, it's the same thing as being in a religion. It's a group of people who believe the same thing, whether it's based in logic or not. It's like when a person quits smoking. Now they're called a non-smoker or ex-smoker. Why do they have to be classified by something they don't even participate in? Why call me a non-Christian? Why do I have to be classified at all? Why can't I just be, I don't know, an anus? I've given up on even trying to convince Christians that the Bible is a crock of shit. Because I finally realized that those people were not rationalized into their belief. They're either scared shitless by the possibility of roasting in hell, or a hell, or they were so desperate for meaning and acceptance and explanation that when some douchebag comes along and tells them they have the answer, they latch on. So, but if you really read the Bible or Quran or whatever from an outsider's perspective, the bullshit is obvious, and the smell is horrible, even to me. And I know this why, because I was raised in the church from the age of 5 till a few years into college. So I lived it. I remember talking about other religions and laughing at how incredibly ridiculous they were. And maybe that was when I first started to see how stupid Christianity was. If I could look at Mormons and Muslims and see stupidity, it was entirely conceivable that they could look at my religion and see the same thing. But I only saw that because I allowed myself to question my entire upbringing. And this is the one point where I actually feel sorry for Christians, and one and only point. Realizing that Christianity is bullshit for most Christians means realizing that your entire life has been a lie. That means that your parents are full of shit. And I can understand why someone would rather not even deal with that possibility. Especially for the more hardcore Christians. Trust me, I look back on moments and cringe at what an ass I was. Here's an example. I was sitting on the porch with my cousin. That was back in middle school. It was probably 12 or 13. Practically browbeating the shit out of him with my Bible. Throwing out every catchphrase, cliche I had memorized. Like, this lovable chestnut. I'd rather live my whole life living for God, only to find out that there's no heaven, than live a life of sin and spend eternity in hell. Right? I mean, you probably heard that one before. What I did was wrong on so many levels, and luckily it didn't work. You know, he thought I was a dumbass, he thought I was a douchebag, thank God. But, god damn it, I planted a seed. And you know what? Just last year, went like 13, 14 years later, I talked to him about it. I apologized to him. I gave him a big hug and I said I never should have even pulled that shit on him. But he said, "No, you were right." He remembered that day, sitting on the porch, probably with more clarity than I even did. And now he's a Christian. He, just months before I talked to him, he turned to Christianity, and he remembered all the stuff I'd said to him, and all that stuff had stuck with him for years. And I don't think I've ever felt more like shit. So anyway, they must know on some level that no one can possibly know what happens after we die, and anybody that claims that they know is completely full of shit. But of course, there will never be a lack of people that claim to know all the answers. There will never be a lack of people who follow them. There's a level of comfort in being led. It's easy. You don't have to think about anything. Otherwise, there'd be millions of leaders, and only hundreds of followers. So anyway, here's my conversation starter. A question to Christians. Would you even have considered being a Christian if there wasn't a hell to be saved from? If you're gonna bullshit me, at least look into my big brown eye when you do it.